Well, joining me now, Republican strategist and CNN contributor Ed Rollins. And Ed also served as White House political director under President Ronald Reagan. And CNN contributor and columnist for the New York Daily News, Errol Louis. Political analyst and Huffington Post contributor, Kelli Goff. And syndicated columnist and CNN contributor, Miguel Perez. And thank you for joining us. We must discuss Sarah Palin, the real surprise of the week. Ed, your thoughts on especially the timing of this?
Well, the timing is suspicious, and you never have a press conference which you raise more questions than you answer. If she's going to quit being governor, she should have done it several months from now. If she's going to run for president, she should have done it at the end of the term. I think she's done nothing but basically hurt herself by this.
Let's listen to a comment she made, sort of explaining what she was trying to do. I'm not sure it answers all the questions. Let's listen.
I'm determined to take the right path for Alaska, even though it is unconventional and it's not so comfortable. With this announcement that I'm not seeking re-election, I've determined it's best to transfer the authority of governor to Lieutenant Governor Parnell.
All right. This was just part of a very long, very sort of rambling. I think that's really the only word for the press conference today. Kelli, your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, it's funny. I thought after reading the Vanity Fair piece, which, by the way, I have to say, Todd Purdom is such an excellent writer. I'd actually lost my glasses, and I couldn't help myself. I held my nose to my computer screen on my laptop just to finish the 10,000-word thing. But I thought things couldn't get tawdrier or any more scandalous with the whole Sarah Palin story this week. And she goes and she proves us wrong. I mean, I think that Ed is 100% right. This is not the way to get taken seriously. And especially the Friday before a holiday weekend. We all know there's a reason celebrities announce divorces on Friday nights and candidates announce bad news. There's something that looks very suspicious here.
Yeah, and it also, I mean, it gives you really quite a bit of time to actually discuss it in the absence of other news. Errol?
Well, that's right. I do think, though, that she's doing something that a lot of other governors who want to stay politically viable may be considering, which is getting out of the limelight. This is a very unpopular time to be a governor of any state. And from New Jersey to California to Illinois, I mean, there's hardly a state where there isn't a shutdown of government looming, furloughs, layoffs. The piece earlier in this show about emergency services being cut back. If she wants to stay politically viable, she had to get out of the spotlight at some point. This is a pretty awkward way to make that conclusion.
It is. Miguel, you're shaking your head.
This is a puzzle that has a lot of missing pieces that we are still yet to discover. I really, you know, the tone of her voice, the way she delivered the speech, the way she rambled, there's something that we still don't know about this. Her whole argument about how she might be better for the state of Alaska outside of the governor's office, that doesn't make any sense to anybody. I thought the governor's office was the highest office you can get in any state.
You know, I think unscripted is really what it was today. And she did allude, she made a few allusions to personal reasons. Let's listen to a quick clip of one of them.
This political absurdity, the politics of personal destruction. Todd and I, we're looking at more than $500,000 in legal bills just in order to set the record straight.
At a certain point, you can't blame her for saying enough is enough, Ed, but do you think that's it?
I mean, the reality, she's gone out and raised a lot of money to pay for her legal fees, and she's got a political PAC put together, and there's a lot of people who've been willing to contribute to her. The bottom line is any of the controversy that's come has come because of her behavior. This is, again, going to raise serious questions about her behavior. And there's one very thin line. You want to be a candidate of hope. You want to be a candidate of competence. You don't want to be a candidate who's viewed as a kook. And the problem is that this is starting to pile on. Equally as important, it hurts this party that she wants to go out and help. We had Mark Sanford last week. We had John Ensign the week before. And this is a third body blow that we've gotten in a row, and that certainly doesn't help us.
Yeah. I also think it's worth noting that one of the points in the Vanity Fair piece was the fact that a lot of national strategists had a tough time. She had a tough time keeping staff on the national level because people were unable to work with her local communications people. I think that this is a perfect example of possibly why, because she had some very, very bad advice, I think, on how this was handled today. And I thought it was very telling that I think there were 3 national GOP strategists who said that they left because they simply couldn't work with her local communications person back in Alaska. Today is a perfect example.
It's a reminder, actually, of the time she got phone pranked. Her communications people put a couple of radio talk show hosts through to her immediately, and they got her into a very embarrassing, ridiculous kind of a situation. And they're in larger states with more sophisticated or more experienced staff. That just doesn't happen.
Can I say something, too, that also concerns me as a woman really quickly, is I think this perception that perhaps she's quitting right? And this perception that she doesn't have the skin that you need to hang tough when you're getting bows and arrows. That's the name of the game in politics. And I think that there's a concern that that could be the perception here.
Although, Kelly, we didn't put those words in her mouth. I mean, you heard the clip.
I
right?
did. No,
yeah.
Using lame duck, she doesn't want to be a lame duck. That's her excuse. I mean, imagine if every other governor or every other elected official quit in the middle of her term. She was elected to prove that she can lead. This is how she gets reelected if she wants to run for office again. She had to stick it out, do better as a governor before she can prove to the country that she can be a president.
So in your mind, it's political suicide?
It's suicidal, yes.
Is that your opinion?
Absolutely. Equally as important, if she wanted to go out and campaign for candidates, she could announce in January of 2010, I'm not going to run for re-election. She could have left the state for the last 2 months, campaign, begin the next year running for president. She has basically put a gun in her head and finished her career off.
Anybody see this as a positive?
Well, I would think that as somebody who can command top rates for speaking, and she's very much in demand, and I think would continue to be, at $50,000 a speech, maybe she can do that 5 or 10 times a month. I think she'll have a war chest and some viability and a base to work from.
Can't use that money for political campaigns, so that's personal money. And at the end of the day, you know, she will diminish as time goes on. Her portfolio was McCain picked her to be the VP, and she was governor of a state. It'll diminish over time.
All right. Thanks very much. Miguel Perez, Kelli Goff, Errol Louis, and Miguel Perez. Thank you. At the top of the hour, Anderson Cooper filling in for Campbell Brown. Anderson, what's coming up?
Kitty, we're in Los Angeles where there are new developments in the Michael Jackson investigation to tell you about. Also a CNN exclusive, Colin Powell's new warning for President Obama. Also our mashup of the day's most important news includes the latest in the big U.S. offensive in Afghanistan. And we're looking at the most underreported stories of the week. What you've missed may surprise you. Kitty?
All right. Thanks very much, Anderson. Up next, heroes. Tonight, the story of Army Specialist Eric George, a brave soldier who comes from a long, distinguished line of military service.